Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to blend casual conversations with some pretty insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets.
You got it.
And today's deep dive is going to be a wild one. We've got iPhones priced like they're made of gold AI popping up in the most unexpected corners, and a CEO switch that has everyone buzzing.
Yeah, the tech world is always keeping us on our toes, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in with Apple's latest iPhone release. Bloomberg is calling it a tough sell. And honestly, I can see why they're marketing this as a budget-friendly option. But that price tag, it just doesn't scream budget-friendly to me.
Yeah, you know what's puzzling me is Apple completely forgot about that truly budget-conscious market, the $300, $400 range.
Right.
I mean, that segment is huge, especially in places like emerging markets where people are looking for affordable smartphones. It's like they forgot about what made the iPod mini such a game changer.
Totally. You make a great point about the Mini. It really opened up Apple products to a wider audience.
Exactly.
And you'd think they'd want to tap back into that market, especially since the analysis suggests they might eventually lower the price. But by then, the phone will be outdated.
Right.
So is this planned obsolescence, or did they just miscalculate?
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Maybe they're betting that people will pay a premium for that Apple brand, even if the specs aren't top of the line. But it's a gamble for sure, and they're not the only ones struggling in this space. I mean, look at Google's Pixel phones, fantastic devices, but they're not exactly flying off the shelves either.
It's true. It's like both companies are trying to find that sweet spot between affordability and premium features, but they haven't quite cracked the code.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to remember what made them so disruptive in the first place.
It's a tough market to crack, for sure.
Speaking of companies making waves, let's shift gears to Microsoft. I mean, remember when they were basically synonymous with antitrust lawsuits?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it seems like they've done a complete 180, especially with their approach to AI.
Yeah, it's like they went from the bad guys to the cool kids on the block. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Under Satya Nadella, they've really embraced this, kinder, gentler image. They're all about open source software, collaborating with competitors, even diversifying their AI portfolio. It's a far cry from the Microsoft that was battling it out in courtrooms.
It really is. But here's the thing. The FTC is still scrutinizing Microsoft, particularly their relationship with OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT. So is this just routine oversight, making sure no one gets too powerful, or are they genuinely concerned about Microsoft cornering the AI market?
Yeah, that's the debate, right? Some analysts see this as a necessary check on big tech's power, especially with AI becoming so influential. Others think the FTC will have a hard time proving that Microsoft is doing anything anti-competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been actively working to create a more open and collaborative environment.
It's a delicate balancing act, for sure. Regulators want to encourage innovation, but they also need to prevent any one company from having too much control.
Exactly. And with AI becoming so integrated into our lives, this whole debate over regulation and responsible development, it's only going to get more intense.
So true. Speaking of being in the right place at the right time, there's this company called CoreWeave that's about to go public, and their story is straight out of a Silicon Valley drama. They started out mining cryptocurrency.
Which was a lucrative business until Bitcoin took a nosedive.
Oof. Yeah, then they pivoted to AI focusing on cloud computing power. Talk about a risky move.
Right.
But it turned out to be a stroke of genius.
Yeah.
They landed a massive deal with OpenAI to provide the computing muscle for all their AI models like ChatGPT.
I mean, talk about being in the right place at the right time, right?
Seriously. So they went from digging for digital gold to powering the brains behind AI. That's incredible. But their business seems pretty reliant on a few big clients, like Microsoft. Isn't that a risky bet to take public?
Well, you could say they're like the health insurance industry, a few big players serving a massive market as AI gets more powerful, more widespread. CoreWeave is betting that they'll be the go-to provider for the computational power behind it all.
That's a bold move going public when so much of your business hinges on those partnerships. Makes you wonder how investors will react.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It'll be fascinating to see how this plays out. It could signal a real shift in the AI landscape where access to capital and these strategic alliances become even more crucial for success.
It really is, and you have to admire their guts for going all in on AI. Okay, so let's shift gears again and talk about Intel. Their stock jumped a whopping 15% when they announced their new CEO. Talk about a honeymoon phase.
Right.
But is this just a temporary boost, or can this new CEO actually turn things around?
Well, the semiconductor industry is facing a lot of uncertainty right now. You've got tariffs, supply chain issues, fierce competition from companies like NVIDIA and AMD who've been making some serious gains.
Yeah, but even with all that uncertainty, there's this feeling that the future of semiconductors is bright, especially with AI driving the demand for more processing power. Could we be on the verge of a semiconductor boom?
It's definitely possible, but for Intel to really capitalize on this, they need a clear vision, a solid strategy. I mean, they've fallen behind in recent years, and catching up won't be easy.
So it's not just about riding the AI wave, it's about navigating these really complex global challenges and making smart decisions to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. It's a challenging environment, but also one full of opportunity.
Speaking of opportunities,
Yeah.
remember we were talking about AI and where it's popping up?
Yeah.
Alibaba's making some interesting moves, especially with how they're using AI to enhance their e-commerce platform.
Oh, yeah. They're really pushing the boundaries. They're using AI to help businesses connect with new markets, manage inventory, even create these really targeted marketing campaigns.
It's like having a superpowered virtual assistant that can predict what customers want before they even know it themselves.
Right. And the crazy part is Alibaba's president claims their AI tools are already outperforming 60% of human sellers on their platform.
Whoa, that's a bold statement.
Yeah.
It really shows how seriously they're taking AI and its potential to just completely reshape e-commerce.
Yeah, they're not just stopping at language processing either. They're exploring what's called multimodal AI, which uses images, videos, all sorts of data to create a more immersive and personalized shopping experience.
It sounds like they're aiming to become the AI-powered heart of global trade.
And with the scale of their platform connecting millions of businesses and consumers worldwide, they're in a prime position to do just that.
But they're not the only ones in the game, are they? The competition in the AI space is heating up globally.
Oh, absolutely. Every major tech company is racing to develop and implement AI solutions. It's not just about having the best technology, though it's also about understanding what users need and building trust.
And that brings us to a really crucial point. As AI becomes more powerful, more pervasive, we need to be aware of the potential downsides.
You're right. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are some valid concerns about, AI being misused, about bias and algorithms, the impact on jobs. These are issues that we need to address head on.
So it's not enough to just marvel at the cool things AI can do. We need to be having those tough conversations about responsible development and making sure AI benefits society as a whole.
Exactly. And that's where things get tricky. How do you balance innovation with preventing harm? How do you create regulations that are effective without stifling progress?
It's like trying to predict the future, which ironically is something AI is supposed to be good at.
It's a good point. But seriously, this is where human judgment, critical thinking are more important than ever. We can't just blindly trust the output of AI systems. We need to understand how they work, what their limitations are, what the potential consequences of their use might be.
It's a lot to wrap our heads around, but it's a conversation we need to be having. And it's not just up to the experts and policymakers. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Absolutely. We need to be informed, engaged, and willing to ask those tough questions after all this technology is going to impact all of our lives.
Okay, so we've talked about the need for responsible AI development, but there's another big initiative happening right now that's aimed at boosting U.S. competitiveness in the tech world, the CHPS and Science Act. It's pouring billions of dollars into domestic semiconductor production. Can you explain why this is such a big deal?
Sure, for years the U.S. has relied heavily on other countries for its semiconductor supply, but the pandemic geopolitical tensions really exposed the vulnerabilities of that approach. The CHPS Act is designed to reduce that reliance, ensure that the U.S. has a secure and stable source of these crucial components.
So it's not just about economics, it's about national security as well.
Exactly. Semiconductors are the brains of modern technology. They're in everything from smartphones and cars to military equipment, critical infrastructure. The U.S. government recognizes that having a domestic supply of these chips is essential for its economic competitiveness and national security.
It's fascinating how everything is connected, isn't it? We started by talking about iPhones and AI, and now we're discussing global trade, national security, and the future of American manufacturing.
It's all part of the same story, really. Technology is reshaping the world in profound ways, and it's impacting every aspect of our lives.
And it's a story that's still being written, with companies like CoreWeave going public and betting big on the future of AI, with governments investing heavily in domestic semiconductor production, and with those ethical considerations surrounding AI development taking center stage. It's clear that the tech landscape is in a state of constant flux.
It's an exciting time to be following this industry. The pace of innovation is incredible, and the implications for our lives are profound.
And that's why we do this deep dive, to equip you, the listener, with the knowledge and insights you need to make sense of it all. We've covered a lot of ground today, from iPhones to AI to semiconductors, but the underlying message is clear technology is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and it's up to us to understand its implications and shape its future. All right, so let's take a step back and kind of like recap everything we've talked about today.
Right.
This whirlwind of tech news we dove into.
Sounds good.
So first up, we talk about Apple and their iPhone pricing strategy, that whole trying to walk that line between affordability and premium features.
Right.
But it's unclear if they really found the right balance, especially with that budget iPhone that's not really so budget friendly.
Yeah, and especially when you think about, their history of disrupting markets with products like the iPod mini. Like, they were able to capture this huge audience by offering a quality product at a more accessible price point. It makes you wonder if their current strategy is, maybe leaving some money on the table.
Yeah, especially in those emerging markets, right? Seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Then we talked about Microsoft and, their almost unbelievable transformation from antitrust target to like this AI champion.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
It really shows you how a company can change its image and its strategy, especially with the right leadership. Satya Nadella has really pushed Microsoft towards a more open and collaborative approach. And, it's been really well received by the tech community.
It really has.
Yeah.
But even with that change, the FTC is still keeping a close eye on them, especially with that partnership with OpenAI.
Right.
It just shows you no company is immune to scrutiny, especially when it comes to AI and, the potential for them to kind of corner the market.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that the rules of the game are still being written when it comes to AI. Regulators are trying to figure out how to foster innovation, but also prevent any one company from having too much power.
It's a tricky balance. And then we talked about CoreWeave, that perfect example of a company that just seized an opportunity and totally changed its trajectory.
Oh, yeah.
They went from mining cryptocurrency to, like, powering the AI revolution. I mean, it's a crazy story.
It's wild, and it'll be fascinating to see how their, upcoming IPO plays out. They're betting big on the future of AI, and if they're successful, it could signal like a real shift in how AI startups approach funding and partnerships.
Yeah, their story really highlights how quickly things can change in the tech world and how important it is to be adaptable.
So true.
And speaking of adapting, we also talked about the semiconductor industry and that huge Xi-Choi-Mies Act, which is, pouring billions of dollars into domestic semiconductor production. It's a sign that governments are waking up to the strategic importance of these tiny chips that power so much of our technology.
Definitely. It's a big deal, not just for the U.S. economy, but for global supply chains and national security.
It really is, and it's created some big opportunities for companies like Intel, which is trying to kind of regain its footing as a semiconductor powerhouse.
Right.
But they're facing some pretty tough competition from companies like NVIDIA and AMD who have been innovating like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a make-or-break moment for Intel. Yeah. They need to show that they can adapt and compete in this, constantly changing market.
For sure.
And then, we circled back to AI and how companies like Alibaba are using it to completely revolutionize e-commerce, creating these super personalized and immersive shopping experiences. It's a glimpse into how AI is going to change the way we shop and do business online.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
It is, but, as AI becomes more powerful, we need to be mindful of the potential downsides. We talked about the ethical considerations, the need for clear regulations, the importance of human oversight to make sure AI is used responsibly and benefits society as a whole.
Couldn't agree more. It's a conversation we all need to be a part of. The future of AI is being shaped right now, and it's up to us to make sure it's a future we want to live in.
So much to think about. Well, that's a wrap for today's deep dive into the world of tech. It's always changing, always exciting, and we hope you enjoyed the ride.
It's been fun.
Thanks for tuning in to Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed the episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions. We'll see you next time.